I'm Alan, and this is Prayers to the Dice Gods, and today we are going to be painting a Town Fire Warrior. Now, jumping straight in with our Black Templars contrast paint, we are going to go around all of the undersuit of this Town Fire Warrior. I've always wanted to paint one of these guys, and I've never got around to doing it. I've been in the hobby for 25 years now, or possibly a bit longer. Seems a little bit odd that it's taken this long, but I'll tell you what, I really like these models and always have. So I'm really excited about this. We're just going to go around, we're literally going to do all of that undersuit. It's just going to be Black Templar. This is just a base. We are going to improve that later on. Using snakebite leather contrast paint, I go over all of the armour panels as well as the gun. My thinking here was that this would be some sort of nice panel lining. It really didn't work out like that. I had considered using Agrax Earthshade in the same way, but again, neither of these techniques are going to work. When it came to putting the XV88 over the top, I found that I didn't like the weird coloration it gave it towards the edges, so I just ended up painting clean over the top of it with the XV88, filling all of that back in, looking to go over the panel lining in a different way later on. Now, this guy is a test model for my kill team. Having gone over him with the XV88, I kind of like the way that looked. We're going to take that clean up to Zandri Dust as the highlights, but we're not going to do standard edge highlighting. We're going to do a little bit of volumetric, a little bit maybe NMM style. So for each of the panels we're going to glaze that in the different directions just to give it a little bit more interest, because Town Fire Warriors can get a little bit dull if they're just left with the edge highlights on, which frankly I don't really like. So we're going to carry on with this. We're going to work our way up. We're going to do lots and lots of layers, lots and lots of glazes to get this to where we want it. If you like the way this Town Fire Warrior is looking, click on the like button below and let us know why you like it. We're going to switch over to doing an actual edge highlight, but we're going to do this with a Ushabti bone. Just going to go around the edges and only do one side of each of those panel lines. So for anything pointing up, we're going to do the underside and try and give it a kind of three-dimensional look. I was looking for a good way to panel line this model. In the end I decided I was going to use a wash to cover the model, but I didn't want to use brown because I didn't want to dull it down that much. So what were the other choices? What I went for in the end was the secret weapon Sepia, and I just went over the whole model. Now once I was applying it, I thought it looked quite good. It was giving it a nice coat. By the time it had done and it had dried, I realised I'd made a horrible mistake. Where I thought it would help make the blends look a little bit smoother, it did that, but it has actually dulled everything down, like right down. It's also really glossy, which I'd forgotten about before I started using it, and so it has a glossy finish. Now to fix that, I'm just going to go clean over the top with some glaze medium, because that has a matte finish. So I've opted to highlight the Black Templar here. All I was looking for is, because there are so many small folds on the Fire Warrior's trousers, I wanted to be able to pick those out fairly easily. So by doing that with the contrast paint, I've got a nice easy base to work from. So taking Corvus Black and working my way up to Celestra Grey as the highlights for this, as well as the edge highlights for the end of the gun, we're going to go around a few times. Like with all test models, this is going to get a lot more coats of paint than you'd expect to do, and the idea is that I'm going to put as much effort into it as I can, and then I'm going to look at where I can cut that back for doing that as a batch process for the next lot of troops. Leave us a comment below and let us know what colour you would have done the Fire Warrior in and why you think that would make them more interesting. Now, I opted to do this model in this particular brown because, though I've always been a big fan of the Town Fire Warriors, I find that the old brown was a little bit too close to orange for my liking. Now, the fact is, I really don't like the brown I've done here. I worked on it for a while. I don't like it, so I think the chances are this model is going to get stripped down, it's going to get redone. So the next time we do a Fire Warrior, we're going to be looking at a different paint scheme. Now, we could try out the white scheme that seems to pop up everywhere now, or we could go for something a bit more obscure, a different paint scheme. You know, something that'll add a bit more interest to the Fire Warriors.